AnimeSecrets.org, the answer to all your burning questions.
Tokusatsu, taking the form of many shows including Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, and Metal Heroes. And today, a group of fans come together to review it for you as Toku Secrets. Hey guys, this is Nathan Dessa from AnimeSecrets.org, and we're coming at you with episode 27 of Toku Secrets. Now before we get started on this, there's one thing I do want to say. I want to apologize for the lack of content recently. I do know that Rizwan did post our review of Kamen Rider Ghost episodes 17 through 20, like, a week ago, but we actually did that way back in July, so Rizwan was actually kind of late uploading that. Shame on you, Riz. But I guess a huge problem was just that our schedules got all over the place. Plus, July was also con season. Riz and I actually met at MechaCon. Plus, I went to Power Morphicon, so we all just kind of got busy and never had time for reviews. But thankfully, we are now making time. And today, we are going to be actually going a little bit out of what we usually do to basically just review a full series, in this case Kamen Rider Wizard. And joining me today here is...
Hi, my name is Anthony Davis, also known as Green Boy on Twitter, and I'm also the White Angel in the DigiRange group. And I'm also joined by...
Alright, y'all. I know y'all miss me. It's time. Okay? It's your boy, Ronald Buzzy, a.k.a. the Green Terrier, a.k.a. the American Sniper, a.k.a. Young Yugi Moto, a.k.a. the Man of Steel on Wheels, a.k.a. Young Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, a.k.a. Searching, Eliminating, all at light speed, a.k.a. Young Defiance, aka Mr. Sky High.
AKA you're done, Ronald.
AKA let's get on with it, shall we?
Oh, and for the record, wait, what was that one thing you said? Never mind. I'll just listen to that in the replay and then just ask you about that later. But now, before we dive into the main topic, there are a few things that have happened in the world of Tokusatsu that we do need to address. The first thing is that with Kamen Rider Ghost nearing its end, in fact, I think it probably only has roughly a month left. Of course, the series that will be taking its place has the trademark and title has been officially released, and it is called Kamen Rider Xaid, and it has apparently been confirmed to be a video game themed series. In fact, the driver, I think it's called the Gamer Driver. Don't quote me on that, but
yeah, Gamer Driver.
Yep.
And we have images released of the suit. Personally, I'm kind of I'm indifferent to it. I mean, I think it looks cool. Not as cool as Ghosts, mind you, but I mean, it still looks okay. I mean, what do you guys think?
I think what I'm okay. I don't think it's bad or anything, but I'm just like totally y'all. I don't know what y'all are doing. Like,
but
it's something bizarre. I'll say that. I mean, I like that they're taking risks like this. I'll give them that. They're taking risks, which I like.
I'm just thinking of myself like, so both Super Sentai, Lucid Super Sentai did this, and now Kamen Rider is doing this, but yet we haven't seen anything about Power Rangers getting anything video game adapted. I'm just like, when is that going to be a thing?
Oh wait, you're talking about Mega Ranger, right? With the video game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I say loosely because it's not really a video game type of series. It's more or less has to do with both. It's loosely based on one,
Yeah.
Because they got their, they played the game. And they're like, hey, we're Mega Rangers now, but this is actually dealing with actual video game stuff. Like he's gonna be in an actual game, whereas like Power Rangers has not done that at all. Like they did it in one episode of Down Thunder, but I think that was it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think they did do it in one Down Thunder episode.
Mm-hmm.
The only other thing I could say about the suit, though, I mean, I think the suit pretty much already gives it away, though. This is probably gonna go back, to being one of those very, very light-hearted Kamen Rider seasons. I mean, I can already see that in the suit. Like,
Yeah, it's gonna be like already.
Like, have you heard his battle theme? Like Jesus, when they said that this would be a video game motif, they were not kidding. They're going all out. These guys don't care. These guys don't care. They're going all out. Like the guy freaking collects coins. Like what the heck? He's gonna be collecting coins in battle.
Jumping ability. He has his jumping ability too.
Wait a minute.
How's this?
You're ripping off Date from Oath now. God damn it.
Except this guy freaking jumps for him. This is ridiculous.
Some Sonic shit.
So yeah, I mean, I think we can all. I mean, we're all open to it. I mean, after all, Toei has in the past, taken ideas that seem really silly and childish and somehow turn them into something really epic. Game, but yeah, hopefully this will turn out to. I mean, hopefully it'll turn out to be good. I'm gonna give it a chance, but unfortunately.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately, given how Kamen Rider Ghost I hear has been going downhill, I still have to catch up. But I just hope that this does make up for what Ghost is apparently doing.
Yeah, apparently they got like 10 more episodes left.
Yeah.
What I've heard. I'm just like, it's going to 50. Like this series is going to 50.
Oh wait, wow, 50. Because normally Kamen Rider seasons have been averaging to like 47 or 48 episodes a season.
Yeah, but I'm like, they're extending. I'm just like, this is the one series that just needs to be over and done with already.
I mean, if anything, they better use those last episodes wisely.
I just realized it's almost as high as like Wizard, because remember Wizard was like almost like 50 episodes. It was like 50 episodes, wasn't it?
Yeah, and guys, it's actually great that Anthony mentioned that. Please keep what he just said in the back of your head, because we're probably going to be mentioning that a little bit later in this video.
Yes.
Keep that in the back of your head.
Oh yeah.
But moving past the Kamen Rider stuff, we also have to acknowledge some stuff that's been happening with Zyuohger, which I hear hasn't necessarily been going downhill. It may have been making a few missteps here and there, but for the most part, it's still.
Oh, it's miles.
It's been okay.
It's miles better than Ghost by a mile.
So a few new things. First off, Zyuohger is getting a 7th Ranger. He is going to be an Orange Ranger, even though his suit is basically just a repaint of Yamato's as a Zyuo Eagle. But he's called Zyuo Bird. Yeah, that's the only problem.
Creativity at its finest.
Right.
But more importantly, and what I think has a lot of people kind of hyped, it's actually been confirmed now. There's been behind-the-scenes scans and even promotional images showing this. We're going to be getting some old veteran Super Sentai heroes showing up. Well, I don't want to say old, because that would imply that they come from like the Showa era or stuff before the 2000s. But we are getting a Zyuohger versus Super Sentai movie, and it's pretty much going back to like what Gal Ranger and Bowtender did. Like pretty much the entire crossover movie is the Zyuohger's crossover with like a team made up of random veteran Super Sentai heroes. And in this case, the heroes, of course, we're going to get Aka Red back, because we have to put him in an anniversary special, in an anniversary season. We're getting Masato Jin, as well as his partner BJ Stagg. They were
Beating
the
Stag
B
Buster
yeah they
from
were
Go
the
Busters.
yeah, and
Hmm.
I'm personally gonna say
But here's the funny twist on it.
hmm
These aren't gonna be the regular Go Busters that we know. These are actually, if anyone remembers, Go Busters had a V cinema called Doubutsu Sentai Go Busters, where
yeah.
it was some alternate reality
Yeah, I
version.
remember that. I've
Where
seen that actually.
and
Yeah,
they're gonna make a
these
joke
guys are from them.
and I think they're gonna make a joke like this would work so well with like the character and be like, Doubutsu Sentai, you stole that name from us or something like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
um,
yeah, they're playing off that.
Yeah.
So
and then the other guys we're getting Nosan from Kyoryuger, Kyoryu Blue. He's probably going to be spewing bad puns all over the place.
I was
Uh,
surprised he was gonna be on there because he's no, he's more dinosaur themed. I thought they were gonna get the animal themed
yeah,
Sentais.
I guess it's with the dinosaur thing because I mean dinosaurs are technically animals, but
Yeah,
um,
I just figured that that's like subspecies of animals.
then after that we're getting for I guess they want to represent like now that I look at this, I guess they're trying to just represent the post Gokaiger era because we have one from Go
yeah,
Busters, one from Kyoryuger, one from Tokyuger, and one from Ni Ninja. Now, as I mentioned, that the one who's I guess representing Tokyuger is Akira Tokyu
Toku
Rokugo.
Rokugo.
And while I'm not a big fan of Tokyuger, as you guys know, and even looking back at Akira, I don't even think he's an amazing character. I gotta admit, I'm kind of glad that they picked him to represent Tokyuger because I mean it's a lot better than Togachi, that's for sure. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or a lot better than Right too.
Oh,
If
thank
anyone
God! I am so glad it's not him.
And representing Ni Ninja is Fuka. She was Shiro Ninja.
She had the dog. She had the dog. Like she was only two,
Pretty
one
much.
out of two, like one of the two, the only ones that had animals in her.
Isn't
Yeah,
she the weakest of the ninjas?
She might be. I'm not sure. I haven't watched enough of that show to know about it.
I've heard people say she's pretty much confirmed as the weakest member.
Mhm.
I think she and yellow.
Yeah, she and Yellow were
The
two
weakest,
of
yeah.
the weakest, but I think she was the weakest overall.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think Red was strongest. Well, obviously, because
Main character.
favoritism. Blue was second strongest.
I guess you could say Pink was the second, third
Oh,
strongest.
Where's Gold?
He's somewhere in the middle between blue and pink, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
And but of course, the one that you guys all care about, and the one that Riz is especially hyped for. This was basically confirmed. There were like behind the scenes footage leaked of this character like standing against
Oh
the
yeah.
ninjas, and the character is everyone's favorite space pirate, Captain Marvelous himself. He is coming back, and that is awesome.
Yeah.
Dai.
So yeah, we're gonna be yeah, I guess we're gonna get Aqua Red back because of course he's an anniversary gimmick that they're never gonna kill. Plus, I mean, I don't know, it's cool to see him.
Yeah, Akared's always cool to
He,
see.
he never does.
He's legendary, man.
We see, we're gonna get a duo from a Go Busters movie, which I unfortunately have to watch, but I hear that they're fun anyway.
And besides, it's not like it hurts to say this, but it's not like they can bring back the real ones because
They
Jin's kind of dead.
Dead.
Yeah, and for the record, Yasuku Kobayashi, who was the head writer of Go Busters, I love you, and you're still my favorite head writer for Super Sentai. But why did you have to kill them? Come on. But um, then we personally, I mean, I think it's an okay looking team. Uh, personally, I would have liked it if they probably personally I would have liked it if Soji from Kyoryuger was representing Kyoryuger instead of Nosan, because I don't know. I mean, they don't have a green or black ranger in this team, so
Yeah,
kind of
so
cool with
it would have been way better to have like a Green Ranger on the team or something.
But yeah, and apparently listed on the allies under Zyuohger, we also have I'm pretty sure this guy was a monster in a and
Oh
but yeah,
yeah,
his name is Jellisto. Like
Delishito.
he was basically this
Mm-hmm.
guy. For those of you who um, don't remember Go Kaiser, he appeared in like two episodes. There was the one episode which was basically a Car Ranger tribute episode where he's trying to capture Red Racer because Insarn is in love with him, and then he gets all mad and tries to profess his love for Insarn, but then the Go Kaijers just like they beat the crap out of him, and then he shrinks down and gets thrown into the garbage, and then a couple of episodes later he meets a guy who's running a takoyaki stand, and he falls in love with his mother and marries her. Uh,
That's
so
one of the weirdest
It
episodes
was
there,
really
I
weird.
swear.
that is the
That episode was so weird.
that is the definition of a weird filler episode.
Wasn't also a Time Ranger tribute too?
Was he? I'm not sure.
It actually was. Cause I remember they transformed into the Time Rangers in that one,
Yeah.
and it was a subplot with Domo coming back to give him details on what's going on with yeah, it was about the Sixth Ranger, I think. It was about Guy's mech or something like that. Because they were the one that sent it to the future.
Mm.
But yeah, so we got some pretty interesting news. Personally, I'm more hyped and optimistic for the Super Sentai part as opposed to the Kamen Rider. But overall, I think we got some interesting news on what awaits us in the future of Tokusatsu.
Yeah, should we talk about Kamen Rider's upcoming stuff?
No, we did talk about X8 already.
What about the V cinemas?
Oh, well, the V Cinemas, I don't really keep up with the V Cinemas much, but
Me
I'll
neither.
tell you that real quick.
But I'm definitely might check out the guy summer movie though. This thing's pretty good, interesting.
Okay, well...
I was referring to the drive sagas.
Oh, the Drive sagas, okay.
Mock and Heart.
I still have not seen those yet. I need to check them out too because I haven't seen those or the Gaiden ones.
Yeah, man. You should check out
they were fire, man. I heard they were pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Mhm.
I will say Dukes is probably kind of the most boring one. I'll say.
That's a given.
I do want to see the Knuckle one though, because I really.
Oh yeah, Knuckles is actually pretty good,
So,
and it's good too because Knuckle barely had
Screen time, much screen time.
yeah, and they didn't even give him an alternate form aside from that like 2-second scene where he used Sukiya arms.
Yeah, that was disappointment.
But anyway, so moving into the main topic of this, because I'm sure that you guys are, hey, I didn't click on this video to get a news report. I want to hear you guys review and rip stuff apart. Well, you're gonna get that in this video. So
All of it. You're gonna get all of it.
so today, rather than do what we've done for in all of our other Toku Secrets reviews, we're actually going to be taking a Kamen Rider series that has already aired and pretty much do like a little retrospect or like review of it as a whole. And it's not just for Kamen Rider either. We'll probably inevitably do this for Super Sentai stuff as well. But we want to start this off with Kamen Rider. And the series that we've chosen today is the show that I think we can all agree is one of our lesser favorite seasons, Kamen Rider Wizard, which I think is like by and large accepted as like probably the weakest season of the Neo Heisei era. I know that some people may consider it a little bit better than Forze, but I think overall it's probably considered the worst. Not in the entirety of the show, because I think there are other shows that get a bit more hate than Wizard does. But as far as the Neo Heisei era goes, the post-decade stuff, yeah, this is probably the most hated.
Yeah. It could have been better, but they dropped the ball on this one. Especially with the lead protagonist. I'm just like, He's so boring.
So to give you guys the basic story on this, what little there is, because that's one of the biggest problems with Wizard. Um, Pretty much the whole story is that um, the concept is that there are certain humans known as gates, and they have these monsters that are. Wait, what were you going to say, Anthony?
I never get why they're called gates. I just don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense why they're called gates. They could have just been called like they're the vessels or something like that. That would be more better sounding because they're essentially demons. Vessels. But that's just my nitpicking. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I had to say that.
And basically, the humans that are gates, they have these like demon-like mythical creature-based monsters inside of them, and they're called phantoms. And what happens is that these phantoms inside of them give them magical powers, but the downside is that if these people are driven to despair, then that actually results in the phantom like slowly
devouring them,
and
breaking
like,
out,
and then they
them.
die, and the phantom monster like becomes them. So like they're dead, which I have to admit is one of the more depressing things. Like these people fall to despair, and that's pretty much it. Like there's no way to return them back. I always found that to be one of the more depressing elements of the show.
This is gonna be like kind of like the wrong kind of messed up thing to say, but like if you're pretty much goth or emo, you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have nothing against my goth or emo because I love goth, but like I just want to make a joke.
So this is a reference to the previous Kamen Rider series, but Tomoko Nozama from Forze, you're screwed. So you were a really hot girl, so I feel really sorry for you.
Do not touch Tomoko. Do not touch Tomoko-chan.
But so anyway, so prior to this, I can't even remember what the event was called, but there was like this huge
The Sabbath.
Yeah, the
Sabbath, yeah.
Where pretty much like all these gates were driven to despair by someone we don't figure out till the end of the series. Oh, and by the way, we're going to give a major spoiler alert. Like we are going to give spoilers in this review. So,
yeah. Few of that.
That probably went without saying though, because is there any video that we've done that hasn't had spoilers?
Right.
And during that event, the Sabbath, one of the gates, his name is Haruto Soma. He was actually able to overcome his despair and hold on to hope by himself. Like like he was able to like overcome despair with like by himself. Like he's strong enough to hold on to hope, basically.
Right.
And
yeah.
Because of that, he's able to control the phantom inside of him, which is a dragon. And for the record, these phantoms, because they can't come up with any creative names, they're pretty much named after the mythical creature that they're based on. Like there's this Medusa one called Medusa. There's a Phoenix one called Phoenix.
I love how clever the names are.
Yeah, I mean at least.
At least they make sense. I mean, I like the design of their looks. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
They didn't get away with it once, but after they did it again, then I wouldn't have liked it.
So because he's able to control the dragon phantom inside of him, Haruto apparently also has the ability to use the power of dragon and become a mage. So this mysterious guy who acts as a mentor toward him, he's constantly referred to. Sorry about that. Constantly referred to as
the White Wizard.
The White Wizard, and he gives him this thing called the Wizard Driver, which is basically just a big hand. Because, that's something to.
I wouldn't really call him a mentor per se, because he didn't really, teach him anything.
And pretty much the way that this Wizard Driver works, it's a regular rider belt. You put it on your waist, although it's kind of disturbing though. I mean, a hand on a guy's crotch. I mean, and sorry for the innuendos here. I know that we're trying to be a little bit more appropriate for children, but yeah, that's totally something to put on a kid show, guys. But
Didn't they like make a joke of that one episode? I can't remember if they did or not. I'm just
I don't know. I did see this one picture though, where I even showed this in a group where it shows Kamen Rider Baron, and he's like putting his hand against the hand on a Kamen Rider Wizard's driver, and I'm like, whoa, Kaito, keep it clean, man, keep it clean.
No, I think what happened was I think he actually got like he couldn't. I think did he try to? I think he tried to use his belt, but he couldn't reach it. So I think he like used the monster's hand to like put him down. I was like, what are you doing?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. I was like, that's a little weird, but okay.
And the way the Wizard driver works is that he puts rings on his hands, and he uses like these switches to switch between either his left hand or his right hand with the rings on his left hand allowing him to transform or switch forms, and the rings on his right hand give him all these like attacks or abilities. Like he can make a wall appear out of midair, or do his rider kick, which in this case is called kick strike. And so he becomes Kamen Rider Wizard through this. The White Wizard gives him the aid of like this mysterious, like her name is Koyomi, and she's like this magical doll that was brought to life and is powered through magical energy.
He pretty much orders him to take care of her.
Yeah. And they stay at this antique shop where they live with a guy. I can't remember what his name was.
I know he's the Ringmaker, but I don't know anything more about that.
I think his name was Wajima.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Wajima.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he
Wajima.
says he actually takes these stones and he makes new rings for Haruto to use.
They never explain how he was able to do that.
No, they don't. Like,
Do what?
I guess they kind of hint with the alternate form rings that Haruto gets. Like, apparently the White Wizard sends him these stones, which he then crafts to make rings, but that's just for the alternate form, not the actual ability rings.
I mean, he pretty much just does the same. Like, White Wizard just sends him to him. He's like, they craft that for the boy, and
and he leaves like, I'm taking my leave, but why don't you just help me? Bye. I have things to do. Bye.
Goodbye.
Like, okay. He's like, okay. Because you're thinking like, with how Wizard operate. I mean, how White Wizard operates. You think that like he would at least be there like once a while, teach like how it's like, hey, you need to do this, like do this way. No, not that ring. Use that ring. Be like an actual mentor.
Instead, Haruto probably had to learn through trial and error.
Yes, and
I'm betting that didn't go well.
That is gonna be like the most difficult thing. Like, I mean, I get that's like he has to learn how to do it on his own, but like at the same time, he needs someone to guide him. He's not gonna be able to do all this stuff on his own. That's why I know I'm off topic here, but I'm planning on making a fan-made Kamen Rider series based on Wizard. And it's gonna have the same name, same title, but it's gonna be just Americanized, basically. And I'm gonna have Nathan as the main writer. He's the main writer for the series, and my series is gonna do is that White Wizard actually is gonna be a mentor to the Kamen Rider Wizard. It's just you're most gonna see him in his human form, and might get somebody that displays him like he's his human form most of the time.
And apparently he also wants to have Ronald be the secondary rider, who we'll get to in a little bit.
Yes.
You have both the riders on this little fan series there.
Basically, yeah.
But so he becomes Kamen Rider Wizard, and pretty much he's fighting the Phantoms that are being released because they're basically attacking gates to draw out more Phantoms. And the Phantoms currently are being led by two of the generals, which are basically the ones that I just mentioned. A Phoenix one called Phoenix, and another one, a female one called Medusa. Um, and they pretty much go around and they find these random phantoms and say like, "Hey, we just found this gate, so could you just like go and make her day kind of bad so that she can become a gate?" Thanks. And then phantom, thanks, man. That's pretty much how it works.
Yeah, I think that was like it was a police officer that was a phantom, and I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah, the 1st
I'm like,
episode.
and I'm just like, how do these people not know that the person that was already dead or is acting differently? It's one of those things where you're just like, well, if the guy's acting differently, something's up.
Hmm.
Like he's not gonna be like the same guy that you want to do. It's just I don't know.
And and the first 2 episodes actually revolve around Haruto making contact with the two guys who are basically supporting characters for the remainder of the show. The first episode, he helps with a character. Her name is Rinko. Um,
Mhm.
she is a police officer whose father died. Her father was a cop, by the way, and and she became a cop because she wanted to protect people just like her father. And in the first episode, she's targeted by the Phantom, and the Phantom crushes this locket that she has that was apparently her hope, which then almost causes her to be driven to despair. And then, and this is one thing that Haruto occasionally does, but occasionally doesn't, which is a flaw that I'm gonna mention in the series a, a little bit later in this video. But what he has to do is that he has to use a certain ring to enter the subconscious of the gates and destroy the phantom inside of them, so that they can no longer run the risk of becoming a phantom. What he has to do is that he has to enter their subconscious and summon his own phantom dragon and use his motorcycle to mount it so that they can do like a mecha-esque battle. Kind of like what Super Sentai with their mecha.
Basically, he's literally fighting people's inner demons, like literally
in their underworld.
Mhm.
And then in the next episode, we get our comic relief character. His name is Sean. And he's basically this guy who, ever since he was a kid, wanted to be a magic user, and the Phantom tries to drive him to despair by making him by having like this fire appear from his hands. But then when he gets on live television,
he makes him think he can do magic for a bit.
And then drives him to despair, and then Haruto saves him too.
And I'm just like, so he can like a little thing of fire, like if you want somebody to think they really do some magic, do it like way bigger than just like little fire tricks. Like you go how if you want him to think that he's like this fire wizard now, you should have had him just and make like giant fire flames and just like make magic tricks behind him or something like that. Just make it more flashy, like he's actually like doing the stuff.
Yeah.
But
no, go ahead, Anthony.
But that's just my opinion. That's all I want to say.
But this honestly brings up the first flaw that's kind of obvious with this. At least with the first episode, that was actually one problem I had. The first episode already has a problem in that, while I'm all for having this kind of plot where the main writer already has his powers, I'm okay with them doing that kind of plot, but you still have to have the episode revolve around them so that we can get their character set up and all that. And that's not what the first episode does.
Nope.
The first episode feels more like just a regular episode that just revolves around Rinko. And aside from aside from us seeing that Haruto is kind of a confident guy who makes all these snarky comments, when he's changing to his Earth form, it's like, hey, I'm gonna ground you, and then he transforms to his air form and is like, "Hey, I'm gonna totally blow you away." I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
really bad
no.
villains. You know, we don't really know much about Haruto's character. Um, you know,
And that's the problem with the series. We don't know who our main writer is.
yeah, because in the second episode we do learn that he was able to hold on to hope because his parents died, and he vowed to like be their hope, like by living on for them. But that's kind of just simple
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
I mean,
simple as heck.
Yeah,
I
I could
like a
imagine
lot
exactly.
of like you can name so many characters in Kamen Rider as well as other shows where their parents died, and like you can't really depend on that as a crutch for your character
Yeah,
to have development.
I mean, yeah, they do bring up the whole. I mean, I think God. I mean, now that you think about it, literally from Forze onward, the main writer's parents are dead because like Gentaro's parents are dead and he's living with his grandfather. Sorry, Anthony, for the spoilers. Haruto's parents are dead. I'm pretty sure in Gaim, Kota's parents are dead because he's living with
they
his
are.
sister.
They're dead.
Yeah, I think so.
Shinosuke from Drive,
At least we know his father is
we
dead.
don't know anything about his mother because who cares about the mother? And same thing
They
with
do that in
Power.
Power Rangers too. Like they do that in Power Rangers as well. Like some parents are never even like mentioned. They're just like, oh well.
I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
Joey, quit killing people's parents. Damn it. But so after the first two episodes, when Shumpei, pretty much Shumpei and Rinko join, like, I guess I want to say the crew. I don't know. After that, pretty much, and this is pretty much the series in a nutshell. A whole lot of nothing happens. I mean, pretty much every episode is just a two-parter. You got the gate of the day, and it's always a two-parter, and we learn a little bit about their backstory and like what gives them hope. And Haruto was constantly preaching about how he'll be their final hope, and
Yeah.
then they either the Phantom gets destroyed or they're just able to hold on to hope, and that's it. I mean, the only other interesting thing, the only thing that happens like story-wise, and this isn't even really story so much as just advertising new toys, obviously, is that early on in the show, Haruto does get new forms because he starts off with these basic styles, because that's what his forms are called, styles. He starts off. He has his standard flame form, and then he also gets water, hurricane, and land.
Yeah. Basically, earth, wind, fire, and water.
Yeah. Where basically, his cloak is still black, but the color schemes of like the gem, like on his head, like
Yeah, the faceplate's changed.
yeah,
It's like a face swap.
Yeah.
and he gets like a dragon form, which is basically like a sort of kinda ish super form. And he basically gets dragon form for all
It's-
four of the elements.
It's basically a callback to Kuga's his what were they called?
They were called rising forms.
Yeah. It's a callback to that.
It's like where you have Kuga's like
There-
default forms, and then he gets like gold trimming.
There's slight upgrades of the basic form changes.
Where in this case, his cloak also changes color.
Yeah.
The element. Other than that, of course, we do get a secondary rider. He appears at the exact same time that a secondary rider usually appears, around episode 17. His character is called Kosuke Nito. We'll just call him Nito because
Yeah.
and he is known as Kamen Rider Beast. And his story is that he's always wanted to be an archaeologist. And
Yeah. aka Mr. Mayonnaise. Mr. Mayonnaise.
Yeah, he has a real fascination with. He has a real love for mayonnaise. Oh, and while we're on that, Haruto also has a plain sugar donut fetish. So that's always a running gag.
Oh yeah.
He'll always
Yeah,
show up
that-
and like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like this like little boutique that's like like little kiosk that has like donuts. They sell donuts or whatever, and it's like they're run by this like this these two guys. Actually it's a cross dresser and another guy, and the cross dresser is like I think he's like the guy that runs the place or whatever. He's just like, why isn't he always getting sugar donuts? Like, it's something else.
yeah, it's always like, there's always this running gag like, hey Haruto, I have like this big like chocolate sprinkled like supreme donut. You want this? And then Haruto was like plain sugar, and they're like, ah! So, but so yeah, Nito comes in, and what happened was that he at one point while apparently like doing his like studying stuff through taking an archaeology class or something, he actually came across this mysterious belt which actually held this really powerful phantom called, I think his name was called Chimera, I think.
Yep.
He's basically like this chimera-like creature that, unlike other phantoms...
He's not really chimera-like. He literally is a chimera.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. And pretty much his whole thing is that he feeds off the energy that makes up like the phantoms or their foot soldiers called the ghouls, and pretty much his whole deal with Nito is that he's inside Nito like any other phantom, and pretty much it's like, feed me magical energy or I'll eat you. So so that's Nito's thing. He's pretty much cursed, and he has to feed this monster inside of him, or else he becomes the monster's dinner or lunch or whatever.
It's kind of like, in video games where like you actually defeat a minion or like the final boss, and like absorb his energy. That's basically what he's doing.
And unlike most secondary writers, though, Nito doesn't necessarily start as a anti-hero. He's pretty much a comic relief character right from the starting gate.
Yeah. What's actually interesting is that, like you were saying, Nate, like, it's actually the opposite. Like, I think Haruto was the one that had the trouble not, like, I don't want to work with him at first, because he's like, well, he is a little too dangerous, that he might, know what he's doing, blah, blah. I'm just like, he has a belt. Why would you not want him to help you?
So after Nito joins, pretty much. Oh, by the way, before we get started, before we continue on though, I think it is probably best that we do mention this though. For all the negative comments that we have about this series, one thing that we can definitely agree on is that the design of Kamen Rider Wizard suit is amazing. Like, personally,
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the best, definitely.
Like, it's that, like, I might even still call it this, although I think Ghost kind of challenges it now at this point.
Yeah.
I would honestly say that it's the best design of the Neo Heisei era. Like, it looks amazing. In fact, most of the designs in this, like, especially with the monsters and all that, they all look amazing. The one design, though, that I'm against, and of course you know it, it has to be Kamen Rider Beast. I'm not a huge fan of it. If anything, it looks like they took Oz's Lata Ratar form and just stripped it down heavily.
Yeah.
I like Beast, honestly.
I mean, it's not the worst, but personally, I'm just not a huge fan of it.
I think what it lacks was that, like, he does have like the similar form change thing where he does have different forms, but he's only like It's
I
like a
think
cape thing. It's like a cape
I
thing.
will say I think the problem with Beast, if anything, is that it doesn't really reference that he's also a wizard as much because his looks more knight like
Hmm.
Yeah.
when
And also
when he's
the fact that,
also
like
a
he's like
mage.
his like sword ability is like kind of like a roll of the die. Like if he gets like
Yeah,
a high
exactly.
number, then like he gets a good roll. But if he doesn't, then like
It's a rapier.
yeah,
Hmm. So after Beast's debut, we then get this very brief story arc, which again is, and this is kind of a thing that is kind of a running gag. I almost want to call it a running gag with Kamen Rider Wizard, where
it's like
they take story arcs that could have potentially been interesting, but then just completely abandon them. In this case, what happens is that Phoenix, after being defeated by Haruto on many occasions, he suddenly decides that uh, he wants to like defeat Haruto one on one. Like he pretty much wants to kill him because he wants to get revenge for that.
mhm.
And Haruto keeps on killing him, but of course because he's a phoenix, he keeps coming back to life.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and what happens is that during this whole thing, Rinko actually finds out a bit more about the information on uh, what Phoenix's gait was like before he became a Phantom. We find out that he had a happy life, like he worked in a flower shop and all that. Uh, and she actually meets with Phoenix at one point, and she brings up an idea that maybe phantoms can be restored back to their human forms. Uh, but of course, what Phoenix takes for it is that he's just like, like, you know what? I don't have to listen to the advice of my boss. I'm just going to fight Wizard, you know.
Yeah.
So, because in case you were wondering, Medusa, Phoenix, and Phoenix have been working under this mysterious phantom who they only refer to as Wise Man.
Mhm.
Like Wise Man's will must be done. He's basically like
I
God of the
do
phantom.
I love that name, like the way they use it for like because you think of Wise Man, you think of like a really good boss. That's what I like.
Hmm.
Yeah, like
I think I might actually
the
might
man who knows
keep the
all.
name. Yeah, I think I might keep the name for my series, but who knows?
Yeah. Um. So then, Phoenix gets into a battle with Haruto again, and through a new gadget that Haruto gets, he previously got this thing called a Dragon Timer, where while in his dragon form, he's able to create like three clones of himself. So like if he was fighting in his flame dragon form, then he could summon clones of him that are in his water, hurricane, and land dragon form, and they all fight these Phoenix, and then they defeat him. But then Phoenix just comes back to life again. So what Haruto is able to do is that he's able to combine all his dragon forms together to create his super form called All Dragon, and that ultimately defeats Phoenix. And of course, we're not going to see All Dragon that much. We only see it twice in the show because it requires a
Yeah.
lot of CGI. So can't use
Yeah.
that now, can we?
Right.
Draco Timer was a pretty good, pretty interesting thing that he does use because being able to like access all those forms at once is actually gonna be helpful and and like some battles where he has to fight several like fams at once. It's like a good
So then after
it's a good thing to
that,
have.
we pretty much move on again to a whole lot of nothing happening. The only real difference is that there's this new villain who's taken Phoenix's place. He's basically this fedora wearing guy, so yeah, you already know what this guy's going to be
Oh,
like.
you actually didn't really explain how he got defeated. Okay, so with Phoenix is that like he gets hurled into the sun. I am not joking.
Oh,
He gets
yeah, forgot about
into
that part. So yeah, there's no way that he can he come back to life after that. But,
But what's really funny is that like I read somewhere online that he actually is still out there regenerating, and like he probably if he's still alive and managed to come back to Earth, it'd be like millions of years later. He pretty much all the Earth will already be gone by then. He's just go back to the empty Earth like,
Yeah.
where is everybody?
But yeah, this guy, his name is Sora, and he's basically this. He's a gremlin-based phantom.
He's not a heartless.
Yeah. But yeah, and notice how he actually had a name.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's working with Medusa now, and he's pretty much going to turn out to be a really big disappointment in this series as it goes on. But we'll get to that a little bit later.
I miss Phoenix. See, this is what I can't stand about some of the Heisei Rider series is that like they have these really cool like general type characters. They kill them off early, and then we get stuck with lame other characters, other villains. I'm just like,
Let's take our hats off and bow down to Kirihiko from Double, Mezul and Gamo from O's, and Phoenix from Wizard.
they were like the best. Like they were like really good villains, but like they just kill them off early. I'm just like,
I mean,
wow.
thankfully they did allow us to keep Kazari and O's, but we also, I mean, you could have, I mean, come on, just kill off Uva early in the series because he was the most boring breed. But
Yeah.
but that's another video for another time. So after that, we get we get a few more filler episodes. The draw on that. Beast gets his own forum. It's called Beast Hyper, where basically they come across a. I can't remember how this whole story arc goes. I think they come across like this gun weapon that somehow links to Chimera. I think.
Some paleontologist or guy or whatever. He found the key thing. I mean, well, he found the gun weapon that Beast Hyper is supposed to use, and I'm trying to remember what his hope was tied to exactly. But I don't think he was being really selfish with it, and I think the heroes, I can barely remember.
They wanted to figure out how they're gonna get this away from this guy, so that they need to could be like, okay, this is my weapon, I need to use it, so I can fight more, I can be stronger with it. And I think they came up with a deal. I'm not sure what happened, honestly. I tuned out after this point in the story.
Yeah, there's it's really hard to remember too, because at this point especially, like, there's literally nothing going on with the plot. Like there's no serialization. It's always just the same old Gate of the Week, fight the Phantom,
And also, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I keep I'm naked all the time when I'm talking. There's another problem I have with the show is that like almost nobody turns into a phantom. Haruto always manages to save them just in time. It's like, can you have at least once or twice that Haruto's not able to save these people and actually let them?
Exactly.
Yeah, like give us some consequences.
Because
Because
the other villain factions at least won in some ways. I mean, like with the Dopants, you can argue that their activity with the Gaia memories ultimately did kind of lead to their final in-game plan with the experimentation. With O's, I mean, in almost every episode, the greed would somehow managed to steal some core metals from Edgy. Now, sure, Edgy would then gain some other core metals of his own, but it's still a success that the Greed did manage to steal core metals from them. You know, especially when Ankh turned on Edgy and pretty much it looked like he robbed Edgy of all his core metals.
Yeah, man, dude, when I saw just those 3 medals, I was just like, a tear just to drop my. I was like, no.
Like, you might as well have like held a gun to Edgy and like, give me all your core metals now. So, and then with Forze, well, actually no, I mean, yeah, I guess, you know, some of the Zodiarts got their successes. I mean, after all, you know, one of them did manage to convince Meteor to kill Forze. Sorry for the spoilers there, Anthony, but Ronald.
No, I know, but I'm not really. I mean, I might still watch it, but at the same time, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, you know, like Forze. Like, I'm not gonna care.
You know what I mean? With the Overlords, I mean, well, okay, the final battle with the Overlords in Gain was pretty much you know, well, that's kind of a whole different topic to talk about. But yeah, with this, these are like the most pathetic villains ever because they never succeed even once. I mean,
nope. Hey, there was even like one episode where like they were trying, like Horto was trying to save this one dude from being turned to a phantom, but in actuality, it turns out that he was already a phantom from the get-go. I think he was like a director or something like that, like a apprentice director. He wanted to be a director. It's like that was his dream, and that was also his friend's dream. But sadly, he is no longer able to, you know, achieve that goal because he's a phantom now.
Yeah.
And Haruto was trying so hard, like, to not to reveal that friend of his, not to, you know, tell her like, hey, he's a phantom. But there was instances where like you can clearly see that you know it is him, but Haruto still didn't want to do it because like, oh well, she'll turn to a gate and, you know, be turned to a phantom. And he never ended up telling her, like, he actually ended up killing him.
Oh, yep. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. That was right when he got his war dragon, wasn't it?
Yeah. But this is the big problem I have with this whole concept with helping the phantom, with helping the gates, like, overcome their inner phantom. You see, the thing is this, the whole, first off, it's pretty inconsistent. Like, sometimes Haruto has to destroy the phantoms inside of them, and then sometimes he doesn't. But both sides, in some ways, just, like, don't make any sense. Like, for example, he destroys the phantom inside of them, then gives them this big, you know, speech about having to hold on to hope. And, well, what's the point of them? Well, why do you even need to hold on to hope anymore? I mean, that monster that can break out of them, that doesn't exist now. So it's more like, well, you know, that monster that you know, you would turn into if you lost all hope, you know, that's gone now. So yeah, you could just lose hope all you want now. I mean, I really don't care. I mean,
Seriously.
I mean, I know that's not what he says, but I think that just kind of undermines the whole, you know, holding on to hope in that case. But the other thing is this. Those times where he doesn't destroy the phantom inside somebody, what's going to stop the phantoms from targeting that gate again? And try to drive them to despair again? And, you know, I mean, you didn't destroy the gate, Haruto. They're still vulnerable. I mean, so yeah, I think that's a huge flaw with the series. You know, with this whole concept of, you know, fighting off the phantoms. I mean, I get what they're trying to do, but yeah, that idea just needed a complete and total rewrite. Like, the writers needed to go back and think that thing over.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on with the story, what little there is. There's so after Beast gets his hyper mode in some story that I can't even remember, we then get another two-parter where pretty much during this battle, um, this Phantom manages to break into Haruto's underworld or something like that and destroy Dragon. So
Yep.
Haruto loses all of his magic. And
He's a normie. He's a normie now.
yeah, he's not.
Hmm.
Yep, he's not a Kamen Rider.
He's a muggle.
Hey, Mowgli, I was thinking Mowgli.
That's a good one. Even Riz will get that joke.
Yep.
And pretty much then, Haruto is, the second part is Haruto, he's going around wondering what worth he has without his magic, and for the record, that's a pretty legit question. I mean, is there anything to his character other than changing into wizard? But,
Yep.
But yeah, so then of course, when the Phantom starts targeting Haruto's friends, as well as Koyomi, who Haruto vowed to protect, he decides to go in and fight, despite the fact that he has no magic. So let's all give a big middle finger to the Power Rangers from Operation Overdrive. So, and then pretty much through his determination, he starts crying or something, and his tears form into a new ring.
Koyomi.
Because
Tears.
Because as we all know, tears are magic in tokusatsu shows.
Yeah.
So, so it transforms into this infinity ring, which is basically his final form that turns into this silver sparkly form. So,
But it looks.
I still don't understand the concept behind that infinity ring.
Me neither.
That's a total Deus Ex Machina thing. Oh, and
Yeah, it really was.
And just one other thing here. So Emperor Zet from Zyuohger, I know how you really like shiny things. Well, you should totally watch the Wizard's Infinity form in action, because I'm sure you'll get a real kick out of that.
He'll be. I'm not gonna say because it's inappropriate, but if I'm hinting towards it, if you guys get what I'm talking about, then you'll know.
Yeah, that is his. You know what word I'm gonna say. But
Yeah.
but after that, so he has his powers back and he has infinity. Then after that, we go back to a whole lot of nothing happening. Again, I bet you're shocked that that's happening. And then when we move into the last 10 episodes, of course, that's when they all of a sudden decide
we actually missed some stuff, some important stuff.
What important? Oh yeah. Wait. What are? Okay. Wait. What was?
Medusa's.
Oh yeah. That was one thing I forgot.
Yeah.
I did have this in mind when we were talking about the Phantoms, but it actually turns out that the gate that Medusa came from, she actually had a twin sister, and and in this episode we meet that other twin sister, who it turns out is also a gate. Dum dum dum. And what happens is that when Medusa tries to turn her sister to despair, her sister is able to overcome the despair, just like Haruto. And after a fight where Medusa's scared off and all that, the White Wizard shows up again, and he takes Medusa's sister away to be trained in order to become a mage.
Yeah, and that's where I get freaking mad right here. You mean to tell me Haruto lost his parents too, but you wouldn't train him, but you're gonna train this new girl?
What the hell? What the hell, White Wizard?
Okay, I think I think he has a bias. I think he just likes girls. That's all it is.
Wait, no. No, actually, no. I got a perfect explanation for this. Is it because Haruto's suit is black and your suit is white?
What? We're going there.
That was horrible. But that was.
It's funny, but horrible.
That was a cheap jab, but I had to do that.
Hey,
Black suits matter.
Black suits matter.
Yeah, black suits matter, especially in this case because it's the best suit that we got. I mean,
Yeah, apparently he doesn't like him like the old things too, because he doesn't like Nito at all, because like of how
Yeah.
because his writer power is like ancient, so he's like he calls him like that ancient writer.
or I think it's like a primitive mage, like a primordial mage or something. I don't know. They do have they do have a word for Nito. I just can't remember.
Ancient.
What it's called.
Yeah.
They always refer to his magic as ancient, and basically that it's the old version.
He's I'm on that new.
Which
my level.
I'm so mad that they never really got into details on what that exactly means and like the significance of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But moving on, with the plot, we get to the last, I guess I want to say,
Arc.
last 10 episodes of a show, which of course, as we all know, it's kind of a standard practice here. It's pretty much like the Ghost Sager effect. No plot, don't have anything happen, but then in the last 10 episodes, we're all of a sudden going to decide that we want to have a plot and all that, and we're going to then rev up the epicness.
Yeah.
So pretty much what happens in these last 10 episodes, one for one, we get two other people that are going to be training to become mages. There's this one kid who is a gay because, yes, we have to bring children into this. A guy who forms
children.
Which Nito kind of grows a relationship
Yep.
with the kid,
And
which
then
is nice.
And then there's a guy who has like a.
He's a
daughter.
family man.
Yeah, he's a family man. And what
I
happens
actually
here-
liked his. I actually liked him.
Yeah.
He was interesting. I like that they had a grown man who already has like a wife and kid, and that's something you don't really see that often in
Yeah.
both Kamen Rider and Super Sentai. Someone who already has a wife and kid.
I mean, they
and-
kind of did it with
and
Zyuohger when, because No-Sam was a family man, but he was taking care of his sister and.
They almost got to that,
Yeah.
because I hear I hear with him they wanted to make him like that too, but then they last minute changed it to
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just
think
him.
that what it was one dude. I think they were gonna have no son actually be able to actually be married to the girl, but they changed it to make him brother and sister.
You'd be doing him a favor, though. I mean, you're having him be married to the woman who played Jasmine in Deca Ranger. You're doing some
Yeah.
favors there. So,
Yeah.
right.
but anyway,
I think what happened that I think he actually rejected. He didn't want to be a wizard or whatever. He just wanted a normal life, but it was like nope.
but the
F
White
that.
Wizard is like, nope.
You don't have a choice.
I mean, it's pretty much like.
I likes you and I wants you. Okay, he didn't say all that. But
It's the concept. We get the concept.
So throughout all this, pretty much what's also happening is, I think at this point, Koyomi is running out of magical energy, and she's slowly dying.
Yeah, because like Haruto has to basically like give his magic to her like constantly. It's like it's kind of like when you have to like like he has to feed her basically is in a way that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
getting her magical energy in order to survive, but she's slowly getting to a point where she can't even take any more from Haruto, and she's dying.
Yeah.
Now, what happens in a pretty good twist, I actually legitimately like this twist. The Phantom guy, the Wise Man guy, he actually turns out to also be the White Wizard.
Dun dun dun. That was actually pretty nice though.
dun.
it turns out that what happened was, and I can't even remember what the name of his character was, so I'm just gonna call him Wise Man. But pretty much Koyomi was his daughter, and he and she died. I can't remember how she died, but
I
she
think it was some
died.
kind of illness. I think it was some kind of
Sickness.
Sickness.
Yeah, and he was driven insane by his daughter's death. So what he wanted to do was that he was willing to go to such great lengths in order to restore her to life. So what he did was that he studied, he spent all this time studying about magic and the stuff behind the phantoms and all that. And one of the reasons,
Some alchemy stuff. 'Cause
yeah,
I swear, there's a lot of former alchemists similarities in the show.
and he was ultimately behind the Sabbath. That was a means of him harnessing all this magical energy in order to restore Koyomi. But it wasn't enough, and he needs to perform. Sorry about that. Another Sabbath in order to successfully restore her back to life. But in order to do it this time, he needs to create 4 pillars to harness the magical energy to transfer into Koyomi, and that's where the mages came in. So that's why he got Haruto.
Why he needed 3 more.
3 other guys. So yeah, he start.
But it would have been more interesting had Haruto actually been training with this guy, because it would have been like a slap in the face, like the ultimate betrayal.
To be
Master and student. I know it's cliche, but I would have liked.
Like Ross turning on Batman and Batman Begins.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I know it's been there, done that, but
there was one time where he sort of trained him, quote unquote,
sort of,
which was when he got the Drago timer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gave him the Drago timer. So
And
yeah. Go ahead, Ronald.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So Wise Man, he starts doing his whole Sabbath thing, and Haruto is helpless. So Nito comes in, and he begins fighting Wise Man in his White Wizard form, and this is actually kind of cool, but it's actually the secondary rider who ends the in-game goal.
Kosuke surprisingly is the hero. Is pretty much the hero of this.
Yeah.
This art.
Yeah.
Because what he ends up doing is that he ends up pretty much getting his ass handed to him.
Yeah, pretty bad. Even from the first time White Wizard ever encountered Nito, he just been whipping his ass every time.
So in desperation, what he does is that he pretty much breaks his driver open and releases Chimera and has him pretty much destroy the pillars and the thing that's causing the Sabbath to ultimately end it. And then Chimera sees Nito and decides to spare him, and then he runs off. So Nito pretty much
in return he let Chimera go ahead and eat all the excess mana that's dispersing out due to the Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
So Chimera eating all that stops it from going to where the White Wizard needs it to go, therefore stopping that.
So Nito just saved the day, but because Chimera's gone, he's also lost his powers. Unfortunately. So in the next episode, Haruto fights and defeats Wise Man, destroys him, but Koyomi also dies, which then causes
cool fight.
Which then causes Haruto to start losing his hope.
Koyomi!
This is the only time I will ever show any emotion.
I'm never gonna let that scene go.
I know, right?
But and then and of course this is the most pathetic thing about the series with the final episode, but the final villain, and I'm pretty sure you guys have forgotten me like mentioning this guy because I've only mentioned him like once or twice. In fact, I even forgot about this one plot point regarding him because it's literally it literally just like slipped my mind. But yeah, we still have to deal with Gremlin. Um, as
Yeah,
it turned,
the serial killer. The serial killer.
yeah, we found out in a previous episode
So,
that prior to becoming a Phantom, he was actually this serial killer who got his heart broken by a woman, and he was suddenly driven insane by that. Uh, and he apparently
Wasn't he
made
like a? Was like a barber? Wasn't he like a barber? Like he would like cut
yeah,
people's
he was
hair,
a
but
be cutting
he was a hairdresser.
cutting the ladies' hair.
yeah, he would just like kill them. Like he would cut their hair, but then he would kill them
Pulling
to slit
a,
their
he's
throats.
pulling a Sweeney Todd. That's what he's doing.
Mhm. But he's failing because he's not Sweeney Todd.
Nope. And his in-game goal, and this of course makes no sense, he wants to be human again. You try to make sense out of that in-game goal yourself, because I certainly can't do that.
Hmm.
Let me just like go back. Okay, he has all this power. He's pretty much able to kill anyone he wants, and he's able to obtain his human form even when he's not in his phantom state. Why would he want to be human again?
Right.
So yeah,
That-
he's the only Phantom left now. Personally, I think there was actually this thing in the previous episode where he fought against both Wizard and Wise Man. Personally, I would have had it just Personally, I would have had it so that Wise Man just kills him out of anger, so that the final battle
Yeah.
could just be between Haruto and Wise Man. Because honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
this whole like final battle with Gremlin, it literally almost feels like the writers were like, okay, that's everything wrapped up, and oh man, dang it, we forgot about Gremlin. We got to find a way to get him written out of the show real quick, you know. So yeah, Haruto's, he's losing all of his hope, and everyone else is trying to fight. But ultimately, Haruto decides to hold on to the hope that he can restore Koyomi back to life. So he comes back, and he defeats, even though he gets defeated by Gremlin at first in his Infinity form, he's able to defeat him in his basic form. Because, yeah, that makes total sense.
It does.
And then, all the Phantoms are defeated, and, everyone goes their separate ways. Rinko's still a detective. Kosuke's, Nito's going around, on his archaeological stuff, plus he's also hoping to find Chimera again one day. Shunpei's working at the ring shop with Wajima to learn how to, make rings and all that.
Yeah, he's basically like Wajima's apprentice, which would have been better had they done it with Haruto and White Wizard, but that's just my personal opinion. I'm still on
really
that.
mad about White Wizard not being a true mentor. Not that I can't blame him for that.
But
In fact, one thing I always wanted them to do with Shunpei was, wouldn't it have been cool if Shunpei actually learned to be an actual wizard? And I don't mean like he gets I don't mean as in he becomes a Kamen Rider. No, he stays human, but he literally just does magic as a human.
Yeah.
That would, not only would that be cool battle wise, but it would also be cool in terms of his own character, because he all his life he wanted to be an actual wizard, and if he actually learned to be an actual wizard.
And not only that, but you could have even had both him and Rinko have the Phantom still be inside them, and then later in the series, instead of having the kid and the family man as the new mages, you could have made Rinko and Shunpei along with Medusa's
That's
sister.
what
That's
what I want to do for my series.
But yeah, and we're also not
That's
done with
true.
this. There are 2 more episodes left in Kamen Rider Wizard, which is basically just it's basically just meant to be like a sort of kind of ish sneak peek to Gaim. It's basically a 2-parter. Haruto gets sent back in time, and he meets a bunch of past writers, and he
You
meets.
could literally miss, like, you could literally just not watch these 2 episodes and you'd be fine.
And yeah, he also meets Tsukasa Kodaya, Kamen Rider Decade, who's the only one that appears unhinged, except for a very brief appearance by Kota. Because they have to give a brief appearance from him, of course, because that's a thing with Kamen Rider series. Like the last episode of each show always has to show a character from the next season in the final scene. Like for example, in Forze, there's a scene where a high school jock, like these two main characters, one of them is proposing to the other, and then someone sees Haruto walking down the street, and she notices one of her rings, and he's like, "Oh wow, that ring is pretty beautiful." So. But yeah, so yeah, it's pretty much just it's pretty much just an episode that's there just to advertise Gaim, which I'm just gonna say is a far more better series than this.
Yes. Way better.
So yeah, that's pretty much Wizard. And yeah, I think what I can say as far as the consensus is that it has great designs. I mean, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Beast's design, but I don't think it's horrible. I love Wizard's design, and I love the monsters' designs, and the action is amazing. Like the action is probably the best choreographed in any Kamen Rider season I've seen, but that's just completely undermined by a total lack of story and many plot elements that are clearly not fleshed out the best way they possibly could be.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I mean, you already have the Phantom thing with like having to calm people down, like have people maintain hope. Although one thing, I was talking with Ronald about this, the thing that's silly about people being driven to despair though is that don't people go through times of feeling nothing but despair every day? I mean, that's kind of like an everyday thing that humans go through. So I think that's kind of just a silly, over-exaggerated thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ronald said that.
I think for like me is that like it depends upon like how like depressed they get. I think that was the concept they were trying to get at.
Mm-hmm.
But same time, what they could have done was they could have like, okay, the gate is like okay, say for instance, like the Phantom is like literally in their ear telling them like, you want to become a Phantom. Come on, join us. We can become more powerful than you ever imagine. Just give in to the power, and
exactly what Ghost did for
the power of the dark side.
Like let the gate suffer from the inside, and then once they actually like give in, like okay, then like they can transform, and that's that, there's no going back. The whole despair thing was just kind of meh.
And we already talked about how the Phantoms are probably the least successful villains. It would have been cool to have like maybe at least one time where a new Phantom came. I mean, hell, you could have done that. Like, scrap the whole Gremlin thing entirely and have like a new general emerge from a Gate of the Day.
Exactly.
I think my biggest problem though with this is that I don't know any, like Haruto is my least favorite main rider that I've ever seen. I mean, I love his design as Wizard, but as a character, I can't even remember a single thing out of this guy. I mean, at least with the other riders that I've seen, like Kuga is just, Kuga's, the complete optimist guy who just wants to protect everybody, which is pretty much the thing for most of the riders. And even some of the Imoran riders that like people find annoying, like Forze, for example, which is basically a guy who just wants to make friends with everyone.
At least he has personality.
I can at least remember that gimmick with him, but I don't know what Haruto is. I mean, sometimes he comes off more as a serious guy, and even early on they try to make him more of like a deadpan smartass or something. But
I liked when they did that with him, but then they kind of dropped that later on.
yeah, like
You could say that he was trying to be like Spider-Man, basically. Like, he had sarcastic remarks, but like he'll keep a serious face though.
Yeah.
like, oh, you got like, oh, you have a sword? That's so cool. I have a sword. So.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, they dropped that pretty quickly, and eventually Haruto just becomes a guy who, he's making like a different version of his hope speech here and there. Because I guess he decided to rip off Obama's whole hope poster, but
Like, yes, we can save you.
But I don't really know what else to say. I mean, like, I actually considered making this my first writer series, actually, because I had a bunch of friends telling me it was good. This was actually, this may have been like the third or fourth series I watched, because I watched this immediately after I watched Gaim. And you can probably guess I was pretty disappointed at that, because it would have been better if I had watched this then Gaim, just to be like, dang it, Kamen Rider sure does suck, and then Gaim comes out and I'm like, oh, no, it doesn't. So,
yeah.
But, and that's one thing that we can at least thank Kamen Rider for. Like, it may have sucked this year, but then Gaim came out, and then we all know how that turned out. I mean, it can pretty much be summed up in like this one meme that I saw where, when Gaim was first announced, I mean, it shows SpongeBob laughing like, haha, Bruce, and then 44 episodes later it shows a picture of Patrick with his mouth hanging open. So,
yeah.
But yeah, we'll be talking about Gaim a little bit later. The main topic of this video, Wizard, not really good. I don't know what else I can say, honestly. I mean,
it can go in despair for all I care.
Not as great. It didn't do as well with emphasizing its overarching theme of hope as it should have.
And like, it's not even about hope. It's about having a freaking like monster like come right inside of you, like trying to fight it. Then the temptation of like finding out that like if you give in darkness, like they could have done it so much better. Like they just had better writers.
I still don't think this is the worst Tokyo show I've ever seen. I still think Ghost Sager is the worst, mainly because, at least Wizard has amazing designs and amazing action scenes to give you something to want to check out. Ghost Sager is still worse because it had absolutely nothing for it. But, yeah, I guess the only way I can recommend this is that, you want to watch a show that's not really great on story, but gives you amazing action to watch, then yeah, go ahead, check it out in that case. But if you are more interested in a more story-driven series, then yeah, this is not the series for you. You need to check out Gaim if you're interested in a story-driven series.
Straight up.
Anybody else? You guys got any more final thoughts on this?
Well, just still after us talking about it again, it just reiterates the fact that I just do not like the fact that White Wizard didn't train Naruto. I mean, it was right there, and like he had the nerve to train other people besides the main writer.
Right.
Really? I mean, I understand they need
that is so questionable
training too, but like, but why Haruto though? Was it because his daughter was there? He didn't want to like get mixed feelings about her. But at the same time, he could have easily taken him like, meet me here and we'll train or whatever, like something. It just didn't make any sense to me.
And speaking of his daughter, the only other reason I watched this show was because I thought Koyomi was hot. Well, actually, no, I thought she was kind of cute. But yeah, I mean, it has a few cute girls here and there. But
she got pretty cute in Ghost, even though I didn't like the episodes.
Yeah. Her actress does appear in Ghost. I just remembered that.
Yeah.
You got any more final thoughts, Ronald?
Pretty much everything I think has been said.
Okay, guys, I guess this about wraps up our review. If you have any tokusatsu shows you'd like for us to check out, you can comment or send us you can send Riz a personal email at drake@animesecrets.org. Um, Once again, we are looking for at least one other guy to join us here on Toku Secrets, so please message Riz with that. Other than that, please be sure to stay tuned. We're hoping to put out at least one video a week, and we're still shooting for that, especially once we get our schedules all synced up together.
Y'all know how life is.
We're hoping that our next review will have us three as well as Chris, and we're going to be doing a Kamen Rider O's review, and we can guarantee that review will be more positive. So, I think everything needs to be said in this video. Don't watch Kamen Rider Wizard if you have any sanity. Especially you, Riz, although you probably weren't going to check out that series anyway.
I would say just watch it for the action only. Do not watch it for like any type of story. Like Nate said earlier, just watch it for the fight scenes and the amazing, the costumes. Like all the costumes look really good. Like Nito's was kind of mad, but everything else about the designs were pretty good. So. You just gotta get something good to look at. It's kind of like you're on a date with a really obnoxious girl, but she's cute and she's not ugly or anything. It's just it's something to look at.
That is a genius analysis. But yeah, so that's all we have to say. Thank you for watching. Please, like this video and subscribe, and follow us. Follow Riz on Twitter. I don't have a Twitter, but and follow us on our Facebook page. And like I said, if you guys want to join us, feel free to send Riz a message. So until next time, we are Toku Secrets, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm about to go to bed. So we'll see you guys later. Later, guys.
Peace.
Goodbye.
Hey, you! Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. You can also check out Anime Secrets on Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. Do you want more than that? I know you do. Then go to our website where you can see daily updates